Myself so much. It's got some choreography. If you know it, great. If you don't, look at somebody who's doing something and just mimic them, right? So if someone's going like this, then absolutely. I think it's kind of like sign language, maybe. Love is definitely like sign language, right? Love myself so much. You could just go like this, so much, yeah. Love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. All right. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Yeah. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Come on, sing it everybody. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that I can love you so much, that you can start loving me.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Tucson. My name is Maria, and I'm so glad to welcome everyone here. For those joining us online, welcome whenever you tune in and watch. And for everyone here, please put your phones in airplane mode or turn them off so as not to disturb the service. Because we are in sacred space, let's take a few moments to breathe in together and get grounded in this space. Wherever we are in sacred space. We're all a unique expression of the divine source, that one life that is God's life. That life is perfect, and that life is our life now. If you set an intention to experience a happier life, better health, more abundant living, you are in the right place. And please know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you're welcome here. Let's see, is there anyone that's new to our service, first, second, or third time that wants to identify themselves? So I guess we're a bunch of old timers, but everyone is welcome here. If you have any questions after the service, please feel free to talk to Sharon or Tamara, our practitioners. There are a few announcements. So we don't have the bulletin, and we are going to be just fine without it. The first thing, somebody left their phone outside on one of the tables there. So if you're missing it, it's actually being held and waved around. Oh, it's been found. Okay, great. We have a couple of things coming up. A Beyond Limits foundations class that's going to be facilitated by Reverend Ronnie. That starts Monday, September 8th for 6 weeks from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a hybrid and on Zoom. There are forms to pick up and fill out for that. We also have a class coming up that's led by Sharon Whealy, one of our practitioners, Tuesdays, September 9th through the 30th, from 4 to 5:30. That's on Zoom. It's a 5 wishes. It's
Advanced care planning.
okay. It's advanced care planning, and I know that I could have really used it when my mother was transitioning. And so I am preparing this so that when I transition, my family will know how to, how to go forward. So now let's take a few moments to say hello, give hugs to our neighbors, and wave to everyone online. Now let's take a moment and say our mission statement. It's on the front of the newly distributed bulletins. The Center for Spiritual Living Tucson is an inclusive, vibrant spiritual community focusing on personal connection through our beliefs, principles, and practices of the science of mind. And so it is.
We're going to have the flames of faith now. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. Candle number 1, we light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Number 4, we light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Number 5, we light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the 4 noble truths and the path of compassion. Number 6, we light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission. Submission to the will of God as the highest calling. Number 8, we light the candle for the universalistic religion of the Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the candle for all who are as yet unaware of the presence and power of the Spirit in their lives. We hold space for them and for all those religions unnamed in this ceremony. Lastly, as the healing candle is lit, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to experience the healing flame of God's eternal love. Mother, Father, God, the wholeness, the allness, the everything, this one divine mind is everywhere present. There's no spot where it is not. We come here today to remember this, to be reminded weekly that we need to keep you in our hearts and in our mind and release all our fear and our worries, knowing that you have us, God. You've got us. You've got me. You've got everybody. So this prayer is of great gratitude. Gratitude for knowing that you are always there for us, picking us up from our falls, whether it be a little stumble or a great fall. You are there for us, always. Big words, omniscient. Big word, omnipresent. Big word, omniscient. I will remember these words and try to wrap my tiny brain around them, knowing that you always pick me up, God. I am never alone. When I think I'm alone, I have to change my mind and feel my heart in the presence of you, Lord. So with gratitude for the music, gratitude for Sharon giving us a wonderful sermon, gratitude for Reverend Ronnie, gratitude for all the people putting this beautiful service together. We're grateful for each other. We've attracted like minds here. We support each other. We love each other. We're grateful to be here. I release this prayer in the action of the law that's always listening and always operating. The law says, yes, my beloved, I hear your prayer and I will move on it. So with gratitude, I release it and we all say, and so it is.
I met this person many years ago when we were playing at the Gregory School. Anybody here that used to attend Center for Spiritual Living at the Gregory School? Raise your hand. All right. Yeah, nice to see. We have some old timers, not just me. She was visiting as a guest singer, and she sang these songs, and I was like, these are cool songs. And she's like, well, I wrote them. I was like, oh, wow. So she's not going to be singing one of her homemade songs, but she is going to be singing a song by Jewel. It's called Hands. She chose this one based on our topic and our theme today. So she decided to come here and perform for us as a love offering. So please put your hands together and welcome Anna Mello.
stole your golden shoes. It didn't steal your laughter. Heartache came to visit me, but I knew it wasn't ever after. We'll fight, not out of spite, but someone must stand up for what's right. 'Cause where there's a man that has no voice, there are shadows singing. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. Only kindness matters in the end. Only kindness matters. My knees, and I will pray. I will get down on my knees, and I will pray. I will get down on my knees, and I will pray. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. We are never broken. God eyes, we are God hands, we are God mind, we are God eyes, God hands, God heart, we are God eyes, God hands, we are God eyes.
In our program, I'm going to read the spiritual thought and then we're going to read the affirmation together. The spiritual thought from today is Ernest Holmes, Living the Science of Mind. If some sincere person says to you, quote, "Then if all this is true, I can do exactly as I please, since God has no will for me," unquote. Please explain to them again that God's will and God's nature are one. And one part of God's nature is the immutable law, the law of cause and effect. Every man must reap as he sows. Together, throughout the day, I am guided by the divine impulse of life. I emerge each moment and accept myself complete. So it is.
We may know this song, so feel free to sing along. When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk with the neon signs are pretty. How of problems surround you. There are movie shows downtown. Maybe you know some little places to go where they never close. Downtown, just listen to the rhythm of a gentle bossa nova. You'll be dancing with them too before the night is over. Happy again. The lights are much brighter there. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares, and go downtown, where all the lights are bright. Downtown, waiting for you tonight. Downtown, you're gonna be alright now. Downtown. 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 And you may find somebody kind to help and understand you. Someone who is just like you and needs a gentle hand to guide them along. So maybe I'll see you there. We can forget all our troubles, forget all our cares, and go downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown. Don't wait a minute more. Downtown, everything's waiting for you. Downtown.
Swap things around here. Good morning, everybody. Glad to see some people didn't run away for the holiday weekend. Yeah, the critic in my head is like, nobody's going to come to my party today. As friends are like, oh, I've got other things going on. I want to thank Anna and the band for doing this song. I've had a relationship with this song now for 2 at least months. I was told, well, Anna's going to be our guest star, and we're just going to play a little snippet. And I'm like, no, I need the whole song. And I will be grateful to be done with it as well. So initially, I actually signed up for this spot before Reverend Ronnie decided Summer of Love. Here I am. And I'm doing it barefoot because that's my Summer of Love statement. I like to be grounded into the space that I'm at. So I signed up for today before she had assigned songs for the month, and we are now at the end of our Summer of Love tour, as I called it in my notes. And when I saw the song, I was just like, what am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to do an uplifting, inspiring, metaphysical talk about escapism, right? And the first thing I've shared before, I'm in recovery, and so the first thing that comes to my mind is, you see me dancing at the beginning. I'm just a little behind being a go-go girl, right? So I actually came of age in disco. And I would go out as to 18-year-old clubs, eventually I got to be old enough for 21 clubs. But I would go out dancing and drinking and partying. And that was my way of dealing with my life, was how I escape. And so I'm looking at the song thinking all these thoughts of, the song is about escaping. And the first line is, when you're alone and life is making you lonely. And in our philosophy, nothing makes us anything, right? We choose how to respond to something. And so already it's like, okay, so life, I'm a victim to life. And that's how I grew up. Life was being done to me. When I've got worries, I can go into town, I can forget everything, just leave my troubles behind. I can distract myself. Things will be great when I'm somewhere else, right? When I go downtown, I'm somewhere else. I can forget all that stuff that's bothering me at home. I can, again, lose myself in the moment. And, and then that line, don't hang around and let your problems surround you. And that's my other coping mechanism, was to just sit home, poor me, I'm such a victim, life is just going on, I hate everything about it, and I would just sit home and worry in my crap. And then at the end, you might find somebody, Mr., Ms. Wonderful, that's going to solve my life to complete me, as the movie line says. But then it comes down to, you're going to find someone who is just like you, who needs a gentle hand to guide them. And for me, that's where this song turns, and that's what I'm going to be talking about this morning, is getting out of myself and moving into service, being there for another human being. This morning before the meeting, I went to my fellowship, a Zoom online meeting, just to ground myself in that vibration of fellowship. So, the Recovery Foundations, I'm just going to pull out my glasses here. As I said, I am in recovery. And the triangle that represents my fellowship represents recovery, where I would get to work on myself and my stuff. Fellowship, where I create connection, where I have connections with other people. You people are also part of my community, my fellowship. I look forward to seeing you, whether I know you well or not. And the last of the triangle is service. And so I'd like to start with a quote from Ernest Holmes out of The Science of Mind. And he writes, when a man's thought rests entirely upon him or herself, just neutral genderize it, he becomes abnormal and unhappy. But when they give themselves to enthusiasm, when they give their enthusiasm to any legitimate purpose, losing themselves in the thing which he is doing, he becomes normal and happy. Let one who is sad, depressed, or unhappy find some altruistic purpose into which they may pour their whole being, and they will find a new inflow of life of which they have never dreamed. And so I'm breaking this down, and when a man's thought rests entirely upon themselves, she becomes abnormal and unhappy. And that's where I said I sit in that woe is me, and I focus on what's not working. And I fall into that depression. We fall into depression. We sink into depression. And I've experienced that, as maybe some of you in the room have. And for me, it's just kind of this sinking mud hole of nothing is working, and I have no hope. But, Ernest Holmes said, when we give ourselves with enthusiasm to any legitimate purpose, losing ourselves in the thing which we are doing, we become normal and happy. So let's go downtown. We can lose ourselves in our hobbies. When we immerse ourselves in something that we love to do, time either stands still, it flies, you have this different experience of time because we're immersing ourselves in something that we love. We can volunteer. I was dating a man several months ago, and he had retired recently, and he was trying to figure out what he was doing with himself. I'm like, well, get a part-time job or volunteer. Do something that puts you out into the world. And we can volunteer for anything that we care about. It could be helping animals at a shelter. It could be something environmental. It could be helping your neighbors, your people. Whatever it is that calls you in your heart, just to help you to find that meaning and that purpose. And work. Work can be something that we can also just dive into. For years, I have this love-hate relationship with my bookkeeping. I'm a bookkeeper for money. And several years ago, decades ago now, I shifted my focus from bookkeeping as a way to earn money and pay my bills into I am being of service to my clients. And my business, my little meme business, says, do what you love. I'll take care of the paperwork. Because this is something that is easy for me. I enjoy doing it. And I realize that some creatives and some people just can't wrap their head around it. And that's okay, because your talent is not my talent, and it doesn't have to be. That's the beauty of the world. So currently, the shift that I'm embracing at my work is I've been doing bookkeeping. I work for Intuit QuickBooks, and I do bookkeeping. I do people's books. And they are now moving my job overseas, and all of us in the United States that are doing this job are getting put into other positions. I did not get my first choice, and I did not get my second choice. They put me into my third choice, which is customer service. And I have to find some amusement that as I was writing this, and I'm focusing on service, that I'm resisting the heck out of doing customer service. I just don't want to be on the phones all day. But then I'm starting to shift my focus. And it's like, you know what? I'm helping people. I'm helping people in real time on the phone. So let one who is sad, depressed, or unhappy find some altruistic purpose into which they may pour their whole being, Ernest writes, and they will find a new inflow of life. And the key word here is altruistic or unselfish. And we can focus on whatever we're doing, on the giving. In the hobby, I took up about a year ago loom knitting, and I shared this before. Very quickly I was like, oh, what am I going to do with all this stuff that I'm making? But it's a hobby that is relaxing to me, and I've decided, and I did give some out last winter, I'm making hats and scarves, and I'm giving out to people that live on the streets so that they can have something new, made with love, and help keep them warm in the winter. And of course, volunteering is, by its nature, kind of an unselfish act. You're not receiving a paycheck. You're there because you really want to be. And working. Yes, I get a paycheck for what I'm doing, but when my focus is on the helping and the being of service first, that can still be an altruistic practice. And what I love is this, it's a divine dichotomy, that when I am in service to you, I get a reward back. In my fellowship, when we share our experience, strength, and hope, we allow someone else to see that there is a way out. And when I share, I get something back. When I was early in recovery, about a year and a half, I had moved out from my boyfriends because the lifestyle was not conducive to my recovery. And a band was coming to town that I really like, Galactic, in case, because I know when I've shared before, people go like, what band? So it's Galactic, they're New Orleans, they're funk, they're fabulous. And he and I had been talking on the phone because we're friends. I broke up for my recovery, and I thought we were going to be going to this show together until a couple weeks before he's like talking about bringing a woman, and I went, eek. So I shared this at a meeting, and immediately after, somebody came up and asked me to lead a meeting that same night. So I didn't have to go and be uncomfortable, with watching him, and he's like 6'7", so it's impossible not to see him in a room, right? And so I didn't have to he's with somebody else, because that was still new for me. And I didn't have to be at home wallowing in my stuff. Oh, I didn't get to go to the show. Instead, I got to go and be of service. And I know that God is at work in my life when things like that happen, when I open to the possibilities. So the next quote that I chose is from the Bhagavad Gita. And there are a couple chapters about service. And from chapter 2, which is generally translated as karma yoga, karma being action. Every selfless act is born from Brahman, the eternal infinite Godhead. Brahman is present in every act of service. All life turns on this law. Strive constantly to serve the welfare of the world. By devotion to selfless work, not selfish, selfless work, one attains the supreme goal of life. Do your work with the welfare of others always in mind. And this is recommended as a path to knowing Krishna, to knowing the incarnation of God, to knowing Brahma, the all that is. And so through selfless acts of service, we find connection. We find that connection to not only God, we find connection to each other, and we find that connection to ourselves. And the pandemic taught us how much we need connection, that we were in this isolation, and my minister at the time was one of the first to coin, we're in physical isolation. We are not separate, right? So this being of service helps us to heal that separation of God, Spirit, whatever you call all that is. Heal the separation from each other and heal that separation that I know I often experience with my own self. It's that namaste vibration. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. I see you. I get to meet God, Spirit, right where you are. And in that, I find myself. Now, this passage says that we have to let go of our ego. And for those of you that read the blog this week, I went to SOAR, CSL Summer Conference up in Canada, and I shared some of the speakers and some of the highlights of their talks. And I told you that Sunday was another story for another day, so here's another day, here's the story. We went to SOAR. I'm a member of the Practitioner Council, which represents practitioners throughout CSL. And we had decided early this term that we wanted to meet in person and get to know each other, so we settled on going to Banff. And part of our volunteer work for this was each session, one of us would lead a prayer to open the session. And I was assigned Sunday morning without consultation. I'll just add that. So I'm assigned Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. My flight leaves at 3, boarding's at 2:30. I think, I've got plenty of time. Book an 11:30 shuttle. I've got plenty of time. And as the weekend starts to progress, I hear more and more, you really need to allow 3 hours, even though it's Canada and everything moves more smoothly than the United States, at least my experience in this trip, you should leave yourself some time. And so by Friday night, I'm coming to realize that I don't have enough time because it's a 2-hour shuttle ride from Banff to the Calgary airport. So I'm only leaving myself an hour and a half, maybe, till the flight leaves, right? Another woman on our team lives in Los Angeles, and that happened to be my connecting flight, so we were on the same flight. And Friday night, I came to the realization that I couldn't do the prayer. And so at 11:30 at night, heavy in heart, I sent the shuttle company an email. I'm like, can you move my flight? And I gave it to God at that moment. Like, if they can move my seat on the shuttle, I know that I'm aligned with what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, this whole process was a giant letting go of the ego because I wanted to pray. Thursday night, we had a little ceremony. My 3 words were me, me, me. They were really to be seen, to be brave, and to be authentic. All about me, me, and me. And, you know, and to justify that, I'm a hider. I can hide in a room full of people. And so to be seen in front of 250 people, CSL ministers, and people that I deeply respect, it was an act of bravery. And practitioners love to pray. And as the weekend went on, each of my fellow practitioner council members, one of them had an actual speaking spot. And as each of them did their prayer, I took a photo. And Saturday night, as my colleagues did her prayer, it was everything I could do not to cry. I ran out of the room and I went to the bathroom and I cried, like sobbing boo-hoo-hoo, like snot everywhere. And this was all me letting go of my ego. And I realized how much my quote-unquote service Sunday was all about me and being seen and what a good job and getting praise. Now what happened, what God had intended, what Spirit had intended to me, was that connection piece that we're talking about this morning. Because what really happened Sunday morning is I got to, well, through the course of the weekend, I got to open up and be authentic with my roommate, who I was just getting to know outside of Zoom. I got to ride on the shuttle with one woman that I did not have a lot of time one-on-one with, and so I got to have an hour and a half, 2-hour conversation with her on the way to the airport and got to know her. I got to connect with her on a level that I hadn't had time with the rest of the weekend. And then the woman that lived in Los Angeles that was on the same flight as me, her paperwork was messed up. So we get to the counter, and it turns out the girl that's helping us has been on the job about 7 weeks. She's new, and and we're in an airport situation. And my friend Deborah and I could just be present as practitioners. We didn't have to jump over the counter fix this, because our flight's leaving in an hour and we still have to get through customs, right? We got to be fully present. We got to move into gratitude. We got to hold space for this young woman as she's she's trying to help us. It took 2 supervisor visits and 30 minutes to get this little snafu fixed, which was basically the paperwork had Mr. Deborah instead of Ms. And being the United States and the states we are today, they don't let anything through unless it's absolutely perfect. So she had to fix that, which then broke something else, which then had to be fixed. And so we had this opportunity to really be in ourselves. And I got to connect with her. We had a wonderful leisurely lunch. Calgary Airport was, it was serene. Those of you on Facebook, I post that. Yes, it was serene. We landed in LAX, and it was loud and crazy and insane, and it was Los Angeles. So we got to be grateful. We got to be present. And that was the gift in giving up all this ego stuff. Because she's like, oh, I would just send you on your way. And I'm like, I won't leave you. And so we got to be present for each other. And that's how I know that it's one of my guideposts, that I am on the path that I'm supposed to be. And I did get this great healing. When I hit that place where I can cry like I cried in that bathroom Saturday night, I know that there's a deep healing going on. So a couple weeks ago, our own Ruth Starwell, who also doubles at Unity, she shared a quote from a Quaker tradition that really resonated with me. The concept of Quaker service starts with the belief that there is God in every person, and that all people in the world, therefore, are members of one extended family of equals. True service, Quakers believe, responds to the needs wherever it exists in the human family, not simply to the problems of our direct kin, close friends, and political allies. And this is the challenge in our world today, to see God in all the people in the world without exception, right? We see God in our family, our friends, and our loved ones. And just the other day, I was reading a book, and currently I'm on Rumi, and it had I just love this quote. Every time your spouse or lover says something stupid, make your eyes light up as if you just heard something brilliant. That's service. We can see the divine in politicians, both the ones we agree with and the ones we don't agree with. And I know for some of us, that's been challenging lately, these last several months. We can see God in the people that aren't like us, whether they're culturally, economic, belief systems, whatever that perceived service difference, generational. I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about young people today, now that I am no longer a young person. And how generationally things shift and change. And we can get a little judgy about that. Young people towards older people towards younger people, because the world is changing and we have to be fluid with it. The quote continues, I try to recognize the needy person's humanity by extending a smile and a kind word along with a few coins in reference to people living on the street. When we walk past an indigenous person without even a nod of recognition, we deny the existence of God in that person. When we pretend that he or she is invisible, we blind ourselves to that person's inner light and its connection to our own. And Matthew 25:40 says a similar thing. Truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. So during the pandemic, when we were all wearing masks, I began practicing what I call radical eye contact, which my former minister in Bakersfield would say, radical is actually doing it, right? Not just talking about it. Radical eye contact. When I speak to somebody, like a cashier, somebody just casual, hey, how are you doing? Fine, how are you? I make a point to look them in the eye. And it's something that I continue to do now that half of our face isn't covered. I want to make that connection with that person. I want to acknowledge that their service of taking my money, doing whatever that they're doing, sweeping the floors, whatever it is that they're doing, I am grateful for them doing that. I want to acknowledge their humanity. I've had a practice of also blessing people that I see living on the streets, and being in recovery, I understand, the addict. I know what it is to be consumed by that. I hadn't gone to that level, and as we say in the rooms, yet. And so I bless them. And sometimes I'm rethinking what I bless, because part of it is that's really a hard way to do God. But I recognize that they are God in expression. It's just a little hard to do. And it's because they don't recognize that divinity within themselves, as I didn't for a long time. The other day I was out walking my dog, and I got to the drinking fountain on the trail, and there was a couple young men washing up at the drinking fountain. And I had a nice little chat with them, and they introduced me to their dog, and, interacting, treating them as human beings, just because they don't have a home currently. And so that's my invitation, is not necessarily to go run up and embrace the next homeless person you see, or unhoused, or whatever preferred term that you prefer. I actually want to start asking, what term do you prefer, right? We have all these politically correct terms, but what are the people experiencing this condition? Because it's not the truth of them, right? It's a condition they're experiencing. What do they prefer? Practicing treating people with kindness, love, and respect. And love calls that into service. Love calls us into service to each other, to the animals, the planet, to life itself. Small acts of kindness, as small as eye contact and a smile, can brighten someone's day. And that someone just might be you. I want to close with this last quote. It's Daniel Namod was here recently, and he talked about his friend Nemo Patel. And I'm gonna send Marianne for the newsletter this week a link to their song "Taking My Time," and their video closes with this passage, this little note. In these challenging times, caring for yourself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation, a radical act in the world that needs you to heal, thrive, and then serve. Thank you. Am I praying now? So we can go ahead and take that into prayer. Breathing that in, knowing that Spirit is everywhere, everyone present. I know that whether you live here in person, online, or watching this at a later date, I know that Spirit is right here, right now, right where we are, right where I am. And so I know that there is no separation in this oneness, because that's the very definition of wholeness, that there is no piece, part missing. And so we just lean into this, lean into the abundance of love, of expression, of variety, of diversity, knowing that every piece of it, every part of it is uniquely perfect, that perfect jigsaw puzzle to make this beautiful picture we call life. And so we move into this. We just allow anything that got disrupted, that anything that came up, we just allow it to fall away as we just allow the crust of bread to just reveal that inner goodness, that inner softness. We just know that as we move in the world, we do so with kindness. We do so with consideration of the other. That we don't always put our needs and our wants and our selfish desires first. That yes, we can be nourished by saying hello to the other. For in saying hello to the other, we recognize that there is no other. There is just a reflection of ourselves. And that anything that we might be bothered by might be something that we are wanting to heal. And so we thank that person. We thank that person for bringing that up to be healed, to be released, so that we can become more of who we came here to be. For this truth and remembrance and recognition, I am truly grateful. Grateful for everyone who reminds me of who I am. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to remind you the truth about who you are, that we are all the light of God in various form, variety, and experiences, in various states of awakening and knowing. We are still all of that. And so from this gratitude, I release this word into the law of yes, love, more, and so it is. And I will give James. I don't know where you need to be. Not there.
Please sing with me. You can play the game, you can act out the part, though you know it wasn't written for you. But tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed of playing the fool? It doesn't, one thing leads to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, if it feels nice, don't think twice. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. And what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone. Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel. Oh, yeah. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Shower the people you love with love. Show
So again, thank you all for being here today. Thank you for those of you who are in service. And if you want to be in service to our community, we can use greeters. We can use people to help clean up when we do our social events. We can just, if you're curious about how you can show up, Barbara did a beautiful job with our flowers today. Thank you, Barbara. There are so many ways you can give to our community, and one of those ways is to help us pay our bills by dropping some money in the basket on your way out the door. It's right back there. It says donations on it. Janet, in her lovely post-Hawaiian outfit, fresh back from Hawaii, is right back by there. So I invite you to support our community in however it calls to your heart. And there were ways to give. You can give old-fashioned. I do have checkbooks. I write checks. You can drop some cash in the bucket. You can give online, various ways to help support our community. So let's go ahead and affirm with gusto, like you mean it. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now.
Please stand up for our closing song. It's in every one of us. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both of your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart. Find. Open up. We can all have everything without ever knowing how. It's in every one of us. Let's pick it up. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both of your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. Come on. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all have everything without ever knowing how. It's in every one of us, here and now. Thank you. Have a beautiful Sunday.